Hello and welcome back. We're going to have another interesting, I hope, or at least informative session in English. Come with me. So what are we going to do today? We're going to do a little challenge of spot the differences. We're going to talk about a way to tell history. Talk about 3 inventions that we just can't live without. We're going to talk about people and inventions that changed the world. And then we're going to play a little bit of Trivial Pursuit. So what I'm going to need you to do is, just like always, I need you to go get a pencil and some paper. And I'm going to give you a minute to go do that. Go ahead. Okay, welcome back. But before we begin and we start talking about the inventions and who invented what and who did what, I want to challenge you a little bit. Spot the difference. Can you spot the 7 differences between the 2 pictures? I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Look. You want to tell me what they are? Okay, did you find the 7 differences between the 2 pictures? I'll give you a hint. There's some popcorn. There are pieces of the paper that are not quite right. And there's also some missing nuts. If we have time, I'll give you the answer at the end. But for right now, we're going to go forward. I want to tell you a little story. Written on the screen there is NPR, The Rest of the Story by Paul Harvey. It's a little bit of history. NPR is National Public Radio. It's the radio that is put on, usually, listened to by the older people. There was one show that I never missed. It was called The Rest of the Story, and the person who did it was called Paul Harvey. The thing about the story was that he would tell a story just like it was. Just a regular run-of-the-mill story about someone who did something. And in the end, we'd figure out, or he'd let us know, that he was actually a famous person. I think that was the most amazing way to learn about history, and I wish that I knew enough about famous people in order to do that for you guys today to do. But I don't. So, let's go forward. What do we know already? We know that life was very different in the past. Over the years, things were invented, things were discovered, and they changed the way that we live our lives. So here's a question for you to think about while we go through the whole lesson. What do you think are the 3 inventions that most people said they could never live without? Think about that. So let's begin. Let's talk about transportation. Transportation is the way we get around. It used to be that people rode on the horse, and then they figured out that they can attach a cart to the horse, and then they could take stuff with them. And then there was the bicycle. As time went on, the motorcycle was invented, automobile or car, the train, the plane, the rocket ship, now even a space shuttle. But what do we really know about that? Before we begin, before I start telling you things, I want you to learn these words. Lifted off, which, as we said, a rocket ship lifts off. Flight, which is the official vocabulary word for what happens when an airplane is in the air. Lasted is from here to there. This broadcast lasts about 30 minutes. Demonstrated is to show. I want to show you something. I'm demonstrating it for you. Hieroglyphics, you can see I put up a picture for you. Hieroglyphics is the way that the ancient Egyptians wrote to one another. As you can see, it's a whole bunch of pictures. Typewriter. The typewriter was a way that people used to be able to print things instead of just writing them out by hand. You'd put a piece of paper in, roll it in, hit the buttons, just like we do today on a computer. But if you made a mistake, you had to throw out the piece of paper and start from the beginning. There was no erase, there was no escape, there was no tab, there was no back, just like we have on the computer today. And the telegraph. Believe it or not, people used to send messages by telegraph. Telegraph was a message that got sent over the wires and appeared on the other side. But you never knew who got it, and you never knew if they answered, and you never knew if they were going to answer you back. So here's my first trivia question for you. Do you know who the Wright brothers were? I'll give you a hint. They flew the first airplane. In fact, they invented the first airplane. But when did the Wright brothers fly their first airplane? Was it in 1903? 1976? 1876? Or 1898? I think the answer is going to surprise you. It was in 1903. Up until the 1900s, people couldn't fly. If you wanted to get from one place to another, you had to go on a boat. In fact, once after that, it was still very expensive to fly, and not everybody could, not like today. Let me tell you a little bit about the Wright brothers. On December 17, 1903, on the beaches of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the world's first airplane lifted off, remember, took off, and changed the world forever. That flight lasted only 12 seconds, but the fourth time they tried lasted almost a whole minute and showed that the brothers had truly created an airplane. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Let's do another one about planes. Do you know what the fastest plane is? Is it the Concorde, the Phoenix, the Lockheed, or the Jaguar? We all know that a jaguar is an animal, so that can't be the answer. And I know you're going to be surprised, but the Concorde isn't the answer. It's actually the Lockheed. the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird. It was invented in 1976, and it is the fastest plane in the world. How fast? It can fly at 58 kilometers per minute. I'll just give you a little bit of something to relate to. The fastest person can run 42 kilometers in 2 hours. That's fast. Let's talk now about communication. How do we talk? How do we get to know each other? As we said, in the beginning, in ancient Egypt, they used hieroglyphics. Then paper was invented. Paper was actually invented by the Chinese. Paper went into the typewriter. People used telegraphs. And then there was the telephone. Today, it's emails, it's texts, it's tweets, it's WhatsApp. It's instant. You don't have to wait. And if someone doesn't answer you, you know they're ignoring you. It's not like they didn't get it. So here's my third question for you. Who invented the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, William Tell, or Eli Whitney? I'll give you another hint. Eli Whitney, that last one, he invented the cotton gin. He didn't invent a telephone. And William Tell? William Tell is actually a composer. He makes music. So which one is it? Alexander Graham Bell or Thomas Edison? That's right, it's Alexander Graham Bell. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876. So let's have a think. Can you guess how long cell phones have been around? I'll give you a hint, and you can see that on the screen. The first person to make a cell phone call was Martin Cooper in 1973. So how old do you think cell phones are? You do the math. 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, that's right. 47 years. Cell phones have been around for 47 years. And here's another trivial question about communication. What is the Morse code? Is it what we call communicating with smoke? Is it sending messages with pigeons? Is it a famous book? Or is it a system of dots and lines that represent the ABCs? I think you can pretty much figure it out. It's the system of dots and lines that represent the ABCs. Morse code was named after Samuel Morse, who lived at the end of the 1700s, till the middle end of 1800s. And it's a code that gives us sets of dots and dashes to each letter of the English alphabet. It was first used in 1836. It was actually very, very useful in World War I. And we couldn't finish up our thing about inventions if we didn't talk about the light bulb. Thomas Alva Edison invented the light bulb and video cameras and made important changes to the telegraph and telephone. These changes made a big difference to our lives, don't you think? So now, let's test your knowledge. Here's a list of the 5 people that we talked about and what they did. I'm going to give you a minute. Just write down the names and the letter of why they're famous. Go ahead. Okay, so let's see if you did them right. First thing, Alexander Graham Bell. What did he do? He invented the telephone, B. The Wright brothers invented the plane, that's E. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, that's D. Martin Cooper, remember, was the first person to speak on a cell phone, that's A. And Samuel Morse invented a code. I'm sure you did that really well. Now I'm going to challenge you even more. What you see in front of you are 7 facts. Or are they? Tell me which ones are true and which ones are false. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead. Okay, how'd you do? Let's see if you got these right. Leonardo da Vinci thought about the idea for the helicopter. That's actually true. Leonardo da Vinci did a lot of things. He didn't just paint. He was a very, very, very scientific person. Number 2, the first computer was invented 500 years ago. That's false. The first computer couldn't have been invented 500 years ago. You want to know when the first computer was invented? Look it up. Number 3, the first computer game was called Pong, like ping pong. That's actually true, and I have to tell you, I used to play Pong. Number 4, WWW stands for what we want. Absolutely false. WWW stands for, and do not say Worldwide Wrestling, that's not the point here. We're talking about communication, so it's got to be World Wide Web. I know some of you boys out there were telling me it has to do with wrestling, but it doesn't. Number 5, the first cell phones were the size of bricks. That's actually true. I used to have a cell phone like that. It was big. It had a big antenna. You couldn't put it in your pocket. You couldn't put it anywhere. It was like basically something you needed to walk around with. All I can think of is if I had to now walk around with one of those things, I don't know what I would do. When I look at the size of the cell phones today that are like this big, I'm jealous. Number 6, dental floss was created to help clean between your toes. That's a disgusting thought, but it could have been. But no, it wasn't. It was actually invented in order to help you clean between your teeth. And number 7, taking a picture used to take 20 minutes. That's absolutely true. In fact, if you're really interested in that, I would highly suggest you take a look at the internet and find out about it. It's fascinating how the chemicals work and make a picture appear. So now, after we've gone through everything, what 3 things do most people say they could never live without? I'm going to give you a minute to think about that, and then I'll give you the answer. So, what 3 things do most people say they could never live without? Actually, if you think about it, it's pretty logical. We can't live without our light bulb, we can't live without our car, and we can't live without our phones. 3 things that people say they could never live without. So what did we learn today? We learned about the importance of inventions in our lives. And we learned some fun trivial facts. Next time you play Trivial Pursuit with your friends or with your parents, you will know a lot more and you will impress everyone. Now what I want you to do is I'm going to give you 15 minutes to find and make a list of 10 inventions that changed the world. You're going to make a timeline, writing next to each invention a little bit about it. You're going to have to use the internet to find pictures about it and put them on your timeline in the correct spots, and then you're going to send it to your teacher. You have 15 minutes, and when we're done, I have a bonus prize for you. Okay, well, I hope you're at least towards the end of that assignment and you're ready to send it to your teacher. And here's what I promised you. A bonus activity. I know you were all waiting for it, so here it is. If you want to, and this is for bonus points from your teacher, look up a famous inventor. Find 8 to 12 facts about him or her. Write a paragraph. A paragraph is usually around between 7 to 10 sentences. And then videotape yourself reading it and send it to your teacher. Now, you can't use the ones that I used here. You have to look up new inventors. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time with me and fun. I hope you enjoyed what you were learning. I hope you learned a lot. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!